On other news, I wanted to speak about mac and cheese. I think mac and cheese is an amazing invention, and it's such a simple thing, when you think of mac and cheese, but it has so much complexity and depth that I really wanted to touch on this subject with a serious note. I think we always joke around in this podcast. We're always talking about funny shit. We're always, just trolling things like, just nothing really productive to society or ourselves. If anything, we're just becoming dumber every episode. But I wanted to talk about something serious. And notice that I'm being serious because I'm having a little bit of Spanish wine. So notice the seriousness in me. Serious. Mac and cheese, bro. What a culinary Pandora's box, right? I mean, not every mac and cheese is the same, right? It ain't. It's special. It has to be creamy enough so that it coats the pasta shells ever so splendidly, but not so creamy that it takes over the texture of the whole dish, right? There's like this perfect balance between the gooiness of the concoction, but also the sturdiness of the pasta as it enters your esophagus. There's this aroma that comes from the cheddar, the Gouda, and the different mixes of cheese. And notice the accent when I say the cheese is to add a little bit of emphasis into what the fuck I'm saying, right? I'm talking about the mixture between the cultures. Well, not really, just American trailer trash, but mac and cheese. And I gotta say, I'm not being paid for this. But if you're hearing this and you want to pay for it, we can talk. My numbers aren't too high at this stage. But I do gotta admit who's the king at this moment. And when it comes to commercial mac and cheese, it's been years that I've searched for something better and I cannot find anything better than Velveeta. And I'm actually starting to use, whenever I want to talk about something being fire, about something being fucking good, about something being impressive, about something being great, I'm going to start saying Velveeta, Like, yo, how was that movie, bro? That shit was Velveeta. You know what I mean? That shit was fire. Fucking Tom Cruise in space, that shit was fire. Right, Velveeta. And I'm not hating on Kraft mac and cheese, but that powder shit, when I was growing up and kids were doing drugs, I was never about that powder shit. You feel me? I was never about that powder. But that Velveeta, again, not knocking on Kraft mac and cheese. That box is classic. But that's more like, well, if you ain't got that Velveeta money, I could do some Kraft, If you put enough love to it, add the right amount of milk, and have your own little secrets, Kraft mac and cheese can be fucking amazing. You gotta eat it right then. It won't last too long. Once it hardens, but you could eat it at the moment. I ain't hating. It's cheaper. You can get a box of 48 for the Lolo. I get that. But if you are at a moment in your life where you're growing and you feel like you deserve more, like, fuck, I should invest a bit more in me, right? In player number one, Velveeta. And I want to clarify, I'm not being paid for this. I should. But it's that fire. I myself been trying to make homemade mac and cheese for a minute. Failing every time. My aunt I remember in Thanksgiving, she still does, makes the firest mac and cheese, right? I mean, my aunt's Thanksgiving mac and cheese grabs Velveeta mac and cheese, puts it in all fours, and double penetrates it with that double stuffed, wear-on dildo, right? Now, can I have my aunt's mac and cheese any day like Velveeta? No. So there's an accessibility issue, not a sex issue. Accessibility issue. Should I talk to my aunt about making this mac and cheese something industrial? Should I talk to my cousins, maybe get some fucking stakes in this company and make this shit a family thing? Run the fucking mill, if you wills? Maybe. Maybe. But I'm just letting you know, this is a fucking classic mac and cheese. Does she then bake it and put some fucking, bread, crumble bread in the top so that it gives it a little crust? Huh? Yeah. And then does she pair that? Does she pair that with some garlic bread that she magically does with this recipe that she hasn't shared to anyone? And then my cousins arbitrarily name that the Kiko bread, and that becomes the firest shit that motherfuckers eat in that hood? Yes. And when you mix the mac and cheese and the Kiko bread and the butteriness of the bread and the meltiness and gooiness of the cheese enter your arteries and block it and make it so that night when you drink, you get a higher booze? Yes. In the morning when you wake up, do you go doubles on that mac and cheese and it still fucking tastes creamy? And then with the Kiko bread, you put it in the oven and it still fucking tastes crunchy and fucking amazing and buttery, and you mix it all in and put it in with a couple beers and then go play basketball to try to burn it all down, but not really? Yes. Have I been able to duplicate that fucking creaminess in the mac and cheese, or even the Kiko bread, which is just bread with garlic but still has this magic that I cannot reproduce? No, I have not. I'm still searching for a way to be able to make this shit at a high grade level. Do I feel frustrated that I cannot make mac and cheese to the level that I should at this stage of my life? Yes, disappointed. Have I addressed that disappointed in a way so that I can make a plan to progress little by little in my mac and cheese making abilities? Yes, also. Have I achieved the goals that I have put in my plan to make progress in the mac and cheese ability building program? No. Why? Because I'm a fucking lazy fuck. Do I want to eat the mac and cheese? Yes. Do you want to put work in it so that you can become better at the abilities of making mac and cheese for you and the people that love you? No. Apparently no. Do you have dysfunctions and chemical disbalances in your brain that make you talk in a certain way that make people think like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Yes. Is this shit wrong in the cables that connect your brain to your body that make you fucking talk like a lunatic, but at the same time make sense and make you feel like, should I listen to this guy? Maybe not, because he's gonna make me crazy, but at the same time he's entertaining. Yes. Do I want your opinion on how to make the best mac and cheese and your recipes on how to improve on my mac and cheese abilities for me and the loved ones and everybody around me? I don't know. Maybe. Are you good with the mac and cheese? Huh? I want you to be as passionate as I am when I'm talking about mac and cheese, right? Because I've tried it many times and I failed. You know what sucks? When you fucking spent all this money trying to get all this gooey amount of cheeses, different mixes, throwing some Spanish, some fucking Dutch cheese in there just to, to make it fucking bougie, right? Mix it all in, blend it. Right? You make you put the little fucking flour with the milk, with the butter. You make the base and then you try to add the cheese and then the fucking mac and cheese just don't taste right. But you feel like, shit, man, I should eat this shit. I'm not gonna throw this away. I'm not at a point in my life where I can throw food away, not only for the monetary reasons, but also for the moral ones. Like, I still feel like I'm connected to the nature. I don't have enough money to fucking not give a fuck about nature. Have I failed many times making mac and cheese? Yes. Am I gonna keep on failing? Yes. Until I find the fucking perfect recipe? Yes. Do I have the balls in me to ask my aunt to give me the recipe without her grabbing a sharp knife and cutting my throat in front of my cousins? No. Am I scared? Yes. Am I intimidated by the mac and cheese abilities that she has acquired through the years? And then consequentially having a bread named after me because of the fireness of it, but me not really having to do anything with it, and me feeling really fearful of asking her of that recipe because I feel that she will feel that I'm not worthy of it, and then our relationship will be fractured because of it. Yes. Should my mom be worried about the mental state that her son is in? Most likely. Should my parents, my dad, me being his only son, be super proud of who the fuck I am and what I've achieved in my life? Not really, not much achieved. Should they be worried about the routes that I might take in my life? Yeah, I'm a bit cuckoo. I'm crazy. Not really, I'm pretty chill. I just do Netflix and do a little wine. May I? May I? Salud. Mac and cheese. Fucking mac and cheese. Will my aunt feel that I'm worthy of knowing the perfect recipe for mac and cheese? Or would she feel that I need to go into an adventure that lasts many years, and maybe when I'm older, I'll be able to host my own Thanksgiving parties after I have acquired the mac and cheese abilities that could make me and the loved ones appreciate who I am based on the gooiness that's entering their mouth into the esophagus with the creaminess and the Kiko Bear at the same time? Fuck yes! I think so. Is it problematic that you talk to people this way and that you feel that you'll be able to keep sanity throughout your life? Yes, it's pretty worrisome. Are you using words that sometimes don't have any meaning or even exist, but you say it in a confident way so people think that what you're saying is true? Yeah, many times. Job interviews mostly. Should the government be looking really into your mental state and the shit that you say because you might be a liability for humanity in the future? I can't answer that for obvious reasons. Yesterday I went to a restaurant with my girlfriend where they sell like this really fire chicken. May I say, this Velveeta chicken. I mean, this chicken was Velveeta, right? And they sell mac and cheese. They dare sell mac and cheese. And I gotta say, here in Spain, it's the best mac and cheese that I've had. It was really good. I almost feel like the motherfuckers were using Velveeta. But if they're not, then they're coming to that recipe very close. It was fucking fire. Now, I had this situation. I had the normal waiter, this girl, right, come and help us with everything. And, it was all good. And then all of a sudden, this other guy came out to give us, like, the second plate and ask us if everything was fine. So given that this is a started upper, I mean, this is a successful business, but it just started and there's still, when businesses are keeping that fucking customer service, right? I hope they continue on that, because in Spain, customer service is a word that never really came about here. It was just never really discussed. They were like, customer service, fuck that, suck my dick. So I go to this place, right? So the second guy comes with our other plate, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna. This guy looks like the owner. He felt like the owner. Like when you go to a business and there's a guy that's just running around and doing shit, but he just feels like, oh, this is the owner that's also working and letting everybody know, like, no, I'm a leader that shows you the way, not a leader that's just telling you what to do, right? I'm like, I'm like, hey, bro, let me tell you something. In the mac and cheese world, I've been around. You know what I mean? Like, I know all about the Velveetas and all the things, right? Like, my aunt, I don't want to say anything, she makes the fierest mac and cheese, right? And I wanted to be nice to him. And I was like, you guys make a really good mac and cheese. Like, I've been around the mac and cheese world. And he's like, oh, yeah, thank you. He leaves and I'm just like, well, maybe he just felt like flabbergasted. I think that's a word that exists and means what I'm trying it to mean. Later come to realize when this guy is charging me, right, for the meal, that he just started working that day there. And I'm here praising him about his mac and cheese. This motherfucker doesn't even know where he lives. When I ask him if I could leave him tip on the fucking card, he's like, I don't know, I gotta ask because I just got here. So when you ask me, am I disappointed in myself that I have to go to a place and ask for a mediocre plate of mac and cheese where a motherfucker that I think is the owner is really a fucking dog-ass motherfucker that doesn't know how to serve or even appreciate my comments about the mac and cheese, and that makes me feel that I should be better in life so that I could know the fucking master recipe of the mac and cheese? Yes, I'm disappointed. Thank you for tuning in to the Broski Doodles. I fucking love you. And I really hope that you can learn how to make mac and cheese, not just for you, but for your children. Peace.